Dear ladies and gentlemen, friends of freedom, unfortunately, I won't be able to be with you in person as we have plenary sessions in Strasbourg all week and I want to take part in as many votes as possible. This is my small contribution to pushing back against the woke and left-wing madness that, unfortunately, still dominates here. But first, let me thank you, the Heartland Institute, for organizing a counter-event at the same time as the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is a shadow government, an unelected club of elites that operates without transparency, acts behind closed doors, and is committed only to its own agenda, globalization and the maximization of its own profits at the expense of the general public. Its participants fly in on private jets from all corners of the world, only to lecture everyone else about the so-called Green Deal, which is nothing more than a massive green scam. They claim to stand for more democracy and transparency, yet they themselves were never elected. They call for increased surveillance of ordinary people, oppose free speech and advance the agenda of unelected elites. That is why a counter-event like the World Prosperity Forum is so important. Freedom, democracy and prosperity for the people instead of control, surveillance and globalization. Thank you, James Taylor and all the other wonderful representatives of the Heartland Institute for this initiative. Politicians, influencers and scientists are coming together here to formulate a clear alternative to the highly controversial World Economic Forum. To put in someone dramatically, the dark forces in Davos and here with you, the forces of light in Zurich. Nothing here is secret. Everything is transparent, everything is traceable, and everything is in the interest of the people we serve. A similar controversy is currently unfolding in the European Parliament. There is still a majority of leftists, Greens, socialists, communists, and many fake conservatives. But the majority is shifting, and we, as an alliance of conservative, freedom-loving patriots, are rapidly growing stronger. There are three groups in the European Parliament, all of which serve their countries in different ways, are decent patriots and demand democracy, freedom and more serenity for their home countries. It is, of course, my group of patriots, whose founding fathers are Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister, Andrej Babiš, the Czech Prime Minister, and Herbert Kickl, the future Austrian Chancellor. We are the strongest in the House, and with the French Rassemblement National, with Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella, the strongest force in France, at our side. Then there is the group of the so-called European conservatives and reformists, which is dominated by the party of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And then there is the group of European sovereignists led by the German AfD. The AfD in particular also has very strong support from the Trump administration. And it looks very much as if the next Chancellor of Germany, the largest country in the EU, will be from the AfD. We are increasingly acting as free groups, pursuing a common goal on key issues, and we are moving closer and closer together. Politically, I really like that. This is not surprising, considering how a still left-wing majority is acting in the House. I will give you two specific examples. First, the far-left Ilaria Salis, an Italian member of the European Parliament who was imprisoned in Hungary. She is accused by Hungarian authorities of 3 counts of assault with iron bars and hammers. She is also accused of being a member of a criminal organization that carries out manhunts. She was elected to the EU Parliament from prison. Crazy. However, the motion to waive her immunity and bring proceedings against her was rejected by the majority of the EU Parliament, also with the help of the fake conservatives. Unbelievable. A second example, when Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban gave a speech in the EU Parliament in the fall of 2024, a large group of left-wing members stood up and sang the song Bella Ciao loudly, the unofficial anthem of the left-wing extremists. It has been a vast majority of lefts in the European Parliament support illegal mass migration. It is more or less the same majority in the European Parliament that fights against proven combustion engines and imposes new taxes and financial burdens on people in the name of the green scam. For decades, the so-called conservatives of the European People Party claimed to be the fortress against socialism. But look at them now. A majority of them turned to the left and share the radical agendas of the Greens and the socialists. In the US, they are called rhinos, Republicans in name only. And here in Europe, we call them pseudo-conservatives. They have merged with the lefts into a faceless unity party that rules Brussels with an iron fist. They prefer to break their own rules and bypass proportional representation just to silence the voices of 18 million patriotic Europeans. They call this defending values, but we know the truth. They only respect the law when it serves their own power interests. Ladies and gentlemen, in the US, a turning point has been reached, and with the election of Donald Trump, a new era has begun. Fighting the green scam, the swamp of left-wing NGOs, measures against illegal migration, against drug abuse and for healthy nutrition, and so much more. 2 genders only, just for example, and not around 70 genders like some European woke governments force us to believe in. In Europe, our alliance is growing stronger and more influential by the day. Our partners and friends are either already in government or leading the polls and on their way to taking responsibility very soon. And I can and will make one promise here. What we are going to do and what we are going to implement step by step is very simple to explain. Back to common sense. We are shifting power away from Brussels and back to our home countries, back to our real houses of parliaments and strengthening direct democracy. We want to work together in Europe at the level of the states, but we do not want to implement a communist central state. We will combat illegal migration and the abuse of asylum. We will expose the Green Deal for what it is, a green fraud and scam, and instead pursue a smart energy policy. We will expand a good partnership with the US. Europe needs the US and the US needs Europe. Globally, we are the Western force against China, India and Africa. And together we are unstoppable. We will fight to give people back their freedom, strengthen personal responsibility and make prosperity possible for people again. We will try, as in the US, to positively influence people's eating habits and make them healthier again. We will end wokeism, which we have had to endure long enough. It is the job of the USA to make America great again, and it is our and a little bit my job to contribute to make Europe great again. And together, it is our job to make the West great again. Let's get this wonderful job done together. I wish the Congress in Zurich all the best and every success. Thank you for your attention. All the best, and thanks a lot for having me.